Did you know that every single weekday between 1 and 2 p.m. we release our Central Indiana Scoreboard Show? It's a podcast that's similar to ESPN Sports Center Radio, but is focused on the Pacers, Fever, IndyCar, IU, Purdue, the Colts, Ball State, Taylor, Indiana Wesleyan, IUK, Anderson, and the best high school sports coverage around. Please check it out. What you are listening to now is Dave Chanley's reaction to an incredible day at the Indy 500 qualifying. It's podcast number 268.3.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, Indy 500 fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, here with Dave Chanley. And what started as a very interesting day in Indy 500 qualifying ended with a very historic day. What a day. One of the strangest front rows we'll ever see at the Indy 500.
The turn of events that happened today, no one could have predicted. If you were at the racetrack, you just hit the trifecta with two long shots and one of the third or fourth favorites. It is just phenomenal, all that has happened today. We've got a lot to talk about.
And let's review the first Israeli driver in Indy 500, the first who's never driven on an oval in his life, the first rookie since 1942, Teo Fabi, to qualify on the pole for the Indianapolis 500, and he's going to take the green flag, never having raced on an oval, much less the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a story this is, Dave.
It is, and with the lineup as it is going to make for a fascinating race, because my first prediction will be, I will bet that the pole winner does not win the Indy 500, but he just won the pole. So I may be talking out of turn.
He's already won his race, I believe. And by the way, his team, which it's their first race in IndyCar history. By the way, I don't think I mentioned Robert Schwartzman is the name of the pole sitter, a name probably unfamiliar to most. It was pretty unfamiliar to me, and I'm an IndyCar fan. So to most Indy 500 fans, I assume this is a name most people did not know. Robert Schwartzman. Prima Racing is the name of the team. On Monday, they started practice. Robert Schwartzman never got on the track because they were so far behind as a team in their first 500. How in the world did this happen?
That is the great question, because I have no idea. In fact, yesterday I thought it is amazing that he even made the top 12.
Absolutely.
And then when he got to the Fast Six.
If you would have had me guess on Tuesday morning who was going to be the one guy left out, I would have said Robert Schwartzman.
Yes.
And he's on the pole.
And he's on the pole. There
were stories. Or can they get him even out on the track before qualifying?
Right. Yeah.
And he's on the pole. It's the most stunning pole of all time. Even when Teo Fabi won in 1983, he had the fastest car. Everybody knew it all month. And he went into the pole day expected to win the pole. This was definitely not the case here.
And the way the format was set up.
Hold on a second.
Do you want me to
What is going on? Okay, good. It's still going. Nope, the dog's fine.
Okay.
It won't
you can slice.
Yeah, it won't even pick it up. We're going to do a 10-second pause and then pick up from there.
Okay.
The format. You were talking about the format.
The format definitely played into his hands as tremendous, because if you would have just had yesterday's, it would have been a whole different lineup. And then you think the Fast 12 will go to the Fast 6, and then the Big 6 are going to get in the finals. And some of them got left out. The whole thing today with Penske was a debacle. It is just mind-boggling what they did. And it's just been I'm trying to think of a bigger upset in other sports that this could equate to.
Yeah,
It's
you're talking about 200 to 1, 500 to 1 probably on Tuesday.
yeah.
It had to be something like that to win the pole. Just unbelievable. We came in, by the way, Dave, again, here with Dave Chanley, our IndyCar guy, one of the biggest 500 fans I know. Came into the day thinking, actually, let me start that over. Probably came into Fast Friday, Dave, thinking we're going to have 2 Ganassis and 3 Penske's in the first 2 rows. Who's going to be the other one?
Right. Yeah.
And none of them are in the front row.
Yeah.
Scott Dixon's in the second row. Alex Palou's in the second row. And the Penske's are all in the 4th row. What a day for the Penske's.
Yeah, but they shot themselves in the foot. And I really thought going into today, Scott McLaughlin would have been the guy to beat for the pole. And, of course, that was wiped out when he made the mistake in turn 2. And then Newgarden and Power, I just don't get it. I don't understand why or what happened there. But they made a mistake. They're starting in row 4. The one thing about Penske is that is not a problem.
Not a problem at all.
4.
Not a problem. Their odds go down a tiny bit because of the chances of getting caught in an accident. But I don't think Joseph Newgarden is any less of a contender than he was on Thursday. And I think Scott McLaughlin is only a slightly less of a contender. And that's only because he crashed and has a new car.
And he's going to have to get that fixed and ready to go. But you've got some good. You've got Lundgaard in the 3rd row. You've got David Malukas in the 3rd row.
What a story that is. That could have been the story of the day if it had been a normal day. The AJ Foyt team being in the 3rd row ahead of every single Penske car.
Yeah, isn't that something? And let's just give kudos to Takuma Sato.
Whew, that guy.
One
of the greats, isn't he?
He's one of the greats. They could almost name that the Indy Sato Speedway because he comes to life.
Owns that thing, man. He it's made for him. It's made for guys who risk things, and he is that guy. I would not count him out in that car in the middle of the front row. Do I think he'll be able to hang with the Penske's and Ganassis on race day? Probably not. But I wouldn't count him out.
It all depends on how things play out. Now, the amazing thing is all year we've had 2 cautions. Where I will bet we're going to have more than 2 cautions. I would love to see a caution-free race, but
2 in the first 10 laps is as likely as not having 2 in the race.
Yeah. My man Pato Award starting on the front row. He's never started on the front row. This is far front, and he's got a couple second place finishes.
Gotta like his chances.
Gotta like him. Alex Palou is Alex Palou. He's going to
never won on an oval, but we know he's going to.
Yeah.
He's been really good on ovals. It's not like he was lost on ovals.
Yeah. And the Iceman is starting close enough up front that all he has to do for 400 miles is just keep it close.
I've been saying all week, I think this might be Scott Dixon's year.
Yeah.
I've been saying for the last 3 or 4 years, he's going to win a second one.
Sorry.
He's going to win. No problem. He's going to win a second one. And it's sure lining up like this could be his race because as good as Palou is, as good as O'Ward is, no one has the experience that Scott Dixon has. And no one has you called him the Iceman. Nobody has the nerves of steel that Scott Dixon has.
It all makes for a good race. It's going to be a great race.
It's going to be fantastic.
And this time, because of the way the starting grid is, the first part of this race is going to be really fascinating to watch. Usually you have the leaders, and they're just going to get out in front, and you're just going to watch them play safe, follow the leader for the first 30 to 50 laps. This year, I don't see that. I see these guys are going to have to mix it up and get themselves in the top 6 or 7 or top 5.
At least through the first pit stop, they're going to have to start making some. Because look, here's who is going to be coming from the back. In the 11th row, you've got Marco Andretti and a very talented Marcus Armstrong. In the 10th row, you got Colton Herta and Graham Rahal. In the 9th row, former winner Ryan Hunter-Reay and the guy who's currently second in the points, Kyle Kirkwood. In the 8th row, you got, just 4-time champion Helio Castroneves. In the 7th row, you've got NASCAR champion Kyle Larson, who is one of the greatest drivers in this field. Behind them, in row 6, you got Ed Carpenter and Santino Ferrucci, who both are very good at Indy. Row 5, you got Connor Daly and Alexander Rossi, who were, by the way, teammates on The Amazing Race. For those of you who aren't familiar, and another Ganassi in the 5th row in Simpson. Of course, the 4th row is all Penske's. Watching them to start the race is going to be fascinating in itself.
It will. And I love it. This is the great week.
This is going to be a great race, man.
It's going to be a great race. It's going to be fun. To predict a winner at this point in time, I will. I'll step out and go ahead and take my man Pato aboard because I think he's due. And I think the best way is Tony Kanaan said it best. He said, the track chooses you to who wins this race. And I think it is his turn. Now, does that mean he'll win? Who knows? But to win a 500, everything has to go right.
Dave, I think it's Scott Dixon's turn. If you asked me, gun to my head, who's going to be there fighting for the win at the end of the race, I'd say Alex Palou and Joseph Newgarden, because they're the two best and the two best cars that have been the best at Indy for the last few years. But I really feel like Scott Dixon. I just got a feeling that it's Scott Dixon's year.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fascinating. And if you have a chance to go that you haven't had, go, because this is the greatest spectacle in racing.
Greatest sporting event in the world, in my opinion. The greatest one-day sporting event in the world, in my opinion. You got things like the World Cup and the Super Bowl, maybe, but I consider that a whole playoffs.
And World Series.
And the World Series in particular.
That's 7 games.
But it's right up there. It's right up there with all that stuff. And it's so much fun. Let's say some guys, let's say probably are more 30-1 to 100-1 to win this race. Who you think that'll be about the odds? Who you like their chances of being up there at the end?
Rossi and Connor Daly. Rossi he drives such a good car. Smooth race. He is going to just keep right where he is. He's not going to push the envelope. And as a result, and again, there is so many factors. Pit stops. Somebody is going to mess up on a pit stop. Let's face it, Dixon would have had 2 of these if he hadn't sped in the pits.
He'd have 6 of these if things had gone right.
Yeah,
for him every time. Yeah, he has raced. He has been competitive at the end of the race in six 500s, maybe 7.
Yeah, I like from the back. I like Kirkwood and Herta. They're both great drivers. They're gonna you got to stay out of trouble early, but strategy wise,
good drivers on a good team who did not qualify well as a team, but they are always good on race day and ready. Always. Never. Yes. I don't remember a single time they've not been good on race day.
Yes. And I have a personal favorite I'd love to see pull through there, and 2 of them, Ed Carpenter and Santino Ferrucci. Ferrucci being with Foyt, and Foyt's 89 years old, and who knows how many more of these he's going to be able to attend and see. And Ed Carpenter, an Indy favorite, would be just great to see him somehow get to the front.
You know how much he wants it.
Oh, yes.
The day he was born, been dreaming about winning this Indy 500. He's been around it since the day he was born.
Yes.
Connor Daly, by the way, is the driver of the Central Indiana Sports Report. He's our guy. There's no one we want to see win more than Connor Daly. I have my doubts on the smaller team, but that's one guy who knows how to get around that track. I promise you, at some point in the Indy 500, unless something happens to him, you'll say, "Oh, there's Connor Daly's up in the front," like every other year, because he's that good. Yeah. Let me ask you this question: most popular win, would it be Kyle Larson or Helio Castroneves?
Oh gosh, oh my. Well, for the nationwide, Larson, because of all the NASCAR people will be doing backflips. Helio with the Drive for 5 would be a huge, huge fan favorite. Yes.
The only problem I have with him winning 5 is that I don't even think I would put him in the same category with the other 3 who won 4. And to see him win 5, it just kind of feels like, when the others to win it are AJ Foyt, Al Unser, and Rick Mears, it would kind of feel strange having a guy whose only wins typically in his career have come at Indy join that list. Never won a championship. Not that he's not a great driver, and man, does he know how to drive Indy. From the first day he got there, he was the best guy on that track.
Yeah, it is. I want to switch the angle here a little bit. This has been, and I worry about this a little bit in the race, but a little bit less than I do in qualifying, because there has been 6 hard crashes. You hardly see crashes in practice or qualifying anymore.
Do you think it's the difference in boost with the hybrid? Is that possible that they're switching levels of boost?
I think it's definitely, my opinion, it's a hybrid, but the hybrid's adding, it's 110 pounds of weight added to the back middle of the car. And right. I think that has played with it, because the air coming underneath there, it's going to cause lift and things with that car. And all you've got to be off is for a minute fraction, and you're in the wall.
And great drivers.
Well, yeah, it's
not just the rookies this year.
It hasn't happened to the back enders. It's happened to the big guys. McLaughlin this morning was shocking, because he didn't even need to be going that fast. He could have just toned it down. Fortunately, everybody that is hit hard has walked away and is still racing.
Yeah, those cars are built so well now.
You have to take your hat off to how well they are built.
They really took that seriously. Yeah. At a time in the late 70s where you were getting a driver dead every year, 10 drivers dead across the country in different races, it's come to, it would be shocking if it happened now.
Yeah.
Dan Weldon's was even pretty shocking in that car.
Yes.
But these cars are just, well, I don't think we've had any significant injuries this year.
It's amazing. They just walk away. They get up now. They're a little wobbly.
We really need to be knocking on wood here.
Oh, yeah. But
because I think you're right. It's going to be a dangerous 500, because there seem to be some control issues with even the best drivers.
Yeah. Now in a race, of course, it's a totally different setup. They were in qualifying. They had put it on the edge, and I think today they all kind of especially after McLaughlin wrecked, I think they all went a little bit more conservative.
It sure seemed conservative, didn't it?
It sure seemed with more downforce, a little bit more conservative, and said, let's just make sure we're in the race. Wow. But it's been a tough week. Friday, I'm walking through the garage area, and they're rolling out Kiffin Simpson's car. Yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a beautiful car. 10 minutes later, it was destroyed in turn 4. And it's just like, wow. And then yesterday, man, those were violent crashes. And fortunately, I mean, it obviously Herta and Armstrong are at the back of the pack as a result. But when it happened, I thought, well, they're not going to be able to race. Who are they going to put in those cars? But they're in the race car.
Yeah, that was my thinking too. Was how are you going to recover from a hit that big in couple hours?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. My instinct would go, I need a nap. I'll see you tomorrow. After I hit the wall that hard, I'd say, I'll see you tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
We'll try it again tomorrow. See you.
Yeah. Those guys are made. They're different.
Amazing.
Breed. They're amazing.
What a field this is. And let me repeat this for everybody one more time. The front row is a rookie who never has driven on an oval in his life, and his name is Robert Schwartzman. An Israeli, the first Israeli, I believe, at least the first one in my lifetime to be in the 500. Takuma Sato, the 2-time winner on the inside of row 1, and Pato O'Ward on the outside, not at all the front row we expected.
No, just total shock. So it's going to be a great race. I look forward to it.
I would say that there's no one that you would call an absolute favorite in this race. It's too many contenders.
The only way before yesterday, I would have said this is Pelot's race to lose because of how well he has done all season. But I'll tell you what, the way the month has played out, he is going to be a factor. Don't get me wrong, but there are 10 or 12 guys now that have played their way into the possibility of winning this thing.
I've been watching it all week thinking that Alex Below and Joseph Newgarden are by far the best two out there, that this is going to be the two of them fighting. And this weekend changed my mind a little.
Yeah.
I really like Dixon's chances.
And, funny, we've talked about all these people, and it could well be somebody we haven't even mentioned.
It's possible. That's for sure.
Possible. That's just racing. That's Indianapolis.
It's Stingray Rob. That's our guy, right? Named after his dad's car. Love it.
Yeah. Yep.
Thanks so much for your time, Dave. We are going to be talking Indy 500 all week this week. I hope you'll join us. At the very least, we will talk to you Sunday night or Monday afternoon about your experience at the 500.
I'm taking my granddaughter and her boyfriend, and I will be at Carb Day Friday. That's a fun day. That is a fun day. And those guys, especially guys like McLaughlin, Herta, Armstrong, they've got to put in some practice time because they've got to make up some ground.
Luckily, this year they get Monday too. I love that
Yes.
that they've added that practice.
Yes.
So they get 4 hours, not just 2. That is a very good thing for especially those cars. But also, don't forget that Power, Newgarden, they're going to need to kind of reshake things down as well. And they're really all switching different. They're the kind of car that they're going to be driving from today, from Sunday to Monday. So they will be back on the track on Monday, and we will be talking about it on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Thank you for your time, Dave.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thanks so much to Dave Chanley for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report. And thank you for listening. If you are interested in seeing the Central Indiana Sports Report continue to grow and thrive, please consider subscribing to our YouTube page and sharing these podcasts with your friends and family. We humbly thank you in advance. Central Indiana Sports Report is a part of ITG Media. I love Susie.